Have our minds been taken? Are we fully under control? So I'm going to go over a few patents and a few things that we know, and then we're going to jump into the blast out that I did just a few days ago called Cognitive Warfare, Hacking the Individual. So before I go into detail on cognitive warfare, hacking the individual, let's go over some of the brainwave monitoring controls that we already have implemented. So this is brainwave monitors and analyzers. When the brainwave pattern of an individual is detected from the use of one of numerous types of detectors, such as a satellite, these brainwave signals are sent to a monitor with a computer. These brainwave patterns are interpreted through a brainwave vocabulary that records the thoughts into words. The NSA monitors the brainwaves of their targets by satellite and decodes the evoked potentials that the brain emits. So using lasers, satellites, and high-powered computers, the agencies have now gained the ability to decipher human thoughts, and from a considerable distance, almost instantaneously. Now that's just one. So we're going to go over a few right now, and you need to know this. So here we go. These are directed energy weapons, and these are some of the weapons that have been used on targeted individuals that I have talked about for many years. We are now all targeted individuals. So everyone, it falls within that group now. It's just that sadly there were millions of people that were the initial experimented on group, and now we are all in that group. So here's what we find out, because it's a summary history of mind control development. We're going to go through it a little bit by year and then by what it does. So you need to understand that back in 1949, mind control was possible, and it was under Operation Lydia, L-Y-D-I-A. And in 1950, most of the brain's frequencies were identified and used in mind control. 1952, they could create cataracts. So your eye damage is all part of a weapons system. I hope you heard that. In 52, they could create cataracts. In 1956, pulses that change the way the brain thinks were used. These pulses can cause organ failure, birth defects, whole body organism failure. In 1962, Operation Pandora, which involved hundreds of thousands of people around the world, checked for all cellular damage, brain emotion, and moods. 1962. In 1965, Pandora was adopted by the U.S. military, and we are all targeted now. We are the enemy, and we are targeted. In 1971, cancer was proven, and blood-brain barrier could be breached, giving the Department of Defense access to your brain. In 1972, crowd control by microwaves was accomplished. In 1990, Operation Sleeping Beauty, Ronald Reagan legalized all microwave weapons. So it's also important to know that Ronald Reagan also adopted in 1988 the Genocide Treaty for the United States, which allows for people to be hunted and murdered. So just keep that in mind, the Genocide Treaty. So we want to go on into some of the patents, and these are targeting patents. And I'm not going to read the patent numbers, but I'm going to tell you the year, and some of them I will read the numbers, just so you can look them up for yourself. But I will be posting this on stopthecrime.net. It will be likely a separate topic on my website called Mind Control Patents, so that you can find it more easily. I haven't done that yet, so just listen carefully now. So in 1998, pulsive manipulation of central nervous systems was created. In October of 2000, universal hadronics method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. Then they talk about radio frequencies and directed energy and radar location and disruption, multifunctional. This is in December of 2005, and they at Raytheon Company. Many of you have heard of Raytheon. And this is what this particular patent did. Weapon with integrated targeting system to locate targets, damage, disrupt electronics, biological entities, and physical structures. I'm going to give you the patent for this one. US 762-9918. Again, US 762-9918. You can look this up for yourself. Now, in December of 1996, the United States Air Force remotely transmitted in intelligible subjective sounds into the target's consciousness. This is called voice to skull. And I have, of course, urged all of you to please don't think these people that are crazy when they tell you they're hearing voices in their head, because you may not yet, but you will soon enough. Please believe your fellow human creatures. Please believe. And if you don't, then you have to question how much mind control you are already in. That would be the deciphering factor as to why you won't believe. So in March of 1962, it allows information to be remotely conveyed to a subject via electromagnetic waves. I've actually heard of speakers that were literally doing some talks on behalf of some scientists that were ill, and they were able to receive the information and give that talk that the scientist telepathically or remotely conveyed to that subject, and then they were able to deliver the talk. So they also, in 1974, apparatus and method of remotely monitoring and altering a target's brainwaves, central nervous system. In November of 1980, subliminal manipulation of subjective emotions via remotely directed audio waves. In 1985, remote neurological control via sets of low frequency waves beamed at the brain. So we're talking about ULFs, ultra low frequencies. Now, these are emitted through your windows oftentimes by your cell phone towers that are nearby. And in many instances, people that I have known have had to put screens that they get in bulk on rolls, cut them, and put them over the window, the entire window on the side of the home or office building that faces the towers. But sadly now, there are so many towers and devices that just fillet us with frequencies. But you can try that, because then the screen has to be grounded. And that has helped people that have been directly targeted in their homes or in their office buildings. I can just offer that as one potential possibility. I'm not sure about it now, because the use of scalar waves and the advanced use of frequencies may have now rendered that useless, but it did work for a while. So in November of 1980, again, subliminal manipulation of the subject's emotions via remotely directed audio waves. And in 1985, remote neurological control via sets of low-frequency waves beamed at our brains. A microwave spectrum, or V2K, this was in December of 1983. And they talked about transmits sound to the auditory cortex of mammals via remotely applied microwaves.